Hi, good morning. What's going on?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, good. Sorry to be a few minutes late.
No worries. We understand. Um, so we really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today. I know Michelle had told me that you were traveling, so again, we really appreciate it. So my name is Martha,
Name's Lewis.
and we're both construction management majors at ASU, and we're doing this interview for a construction technology course. And we're learning
Okay.
about technology used in the real world practice by professionals like yourself. So we just want to start with a few background questions, and then we'll transition into the two top technologies that you use currently, and then we'll just wrap up with a few questions, and that should be it for the interview.
Okay.
And so, would you be able to tell us what is your current job title?
I'm the CEO of GCON Inc.
And then, how long have you been in the construction industry overall? And then,
Uh,
when did you co-found GCon?
I I founded GCON 23 years ago, and I've been in the construction industry for 35 years.
And then, is there any way you could tell us like a little bit of how you got into the industry?
I'm sorry, can you hear me okay? I get a little slight echo. Has that happened on your side or no?
I can hear you perfectly. I don't know about Lewis.
Yeah, you sound okay to me.
Let me do a quick adjustment real quick on my side here. Can you repeat the question for me?
So, were you able to tell us a little bit of how you got into the construction industry?
So sure how I got into the construction industry as a whole is I grew up in a family of construction. My dad was a union pipe fitter, and since I was a little kid, I was fitting pipe and digging trenches since I can remember, always helping him on projects and job sites. And I got my degree out of ASU in construction, and, and and for a couple of general contractors, and then ended up working for Intel for about 10 years, and then started GCON after that.
And then, Lewis, do you want to ask him about his technology?
Yeah. If you could tell us about the two technologies you guys currently use the most in your company, just tell us a little bit about them, what you like and don't like about them.
I'll tell you the ones that I utilize the most, and we use for project management and accounting, CMIC, and it's an integrated project management program that manages all of our accounting systems and also our project systems at the same time. So it's both a finance back of house software and front of house operations software where it manages submittals and R5s and job cost reports. So it is the number one tool we use kind of in the company, where the vast majority, 80-90% of our data resides within that tool. And so it's an integrated tool for us. The pros to it is all the data's in one spot, and it's a great tool. The negative to it is, obviously, you guys have all heard of Procore and companies like that out there. Their user interface, their ability of front of house stuff, the operational stuff is superior. The problem with companies like Procore is that they don't have the back of house any the systems. You'd have a finance both, and then you'd have a Procore. CMIC is one software that manages both of them. And, despite its challenges on the operational side, being not as user friendly as a company like Procore is that your data resides in one database. And so the second software we use, and this is something I use exclusively, is a software called Domo. And that software from Domo is it's kind of like Microsoft BI, but it's a data analytics dashboard front end that would where you data mine through APIs and the data out of CMIC, and then you produce dashboards for Domo. And so those are the two softwares we use the most. So Domo is one of those ones where it's a tool in which you manage your business by. So we take the benefit of all of our data being in CMIC and a couple other softwares like Uninet and a couple other unique software, whether it's Bridget Bench or stuff that we use for labor tracking, and it is able to grab all the data out of those and create dashboards that are real time and are on a regular basis at how we manage our business. So on the flip side, if you'd ask me what I don't like about CMIC besides the user interface is that their dashboards and their analytics are just behind companies like Domo or Microsoft BI, stuff like that. They're just not as intuitive or user friendly. Even though everybody's trying to make their dashboards internal to their own software, they're just not adequate compared to some of the specific softwares that do that.
And I had a quick question. Is there any way that you guys integrate AI, like maybe in the corporate level or like on projects or certain job sites or anything like that?
We AI is something that we have an AI task force that where we promote and fund individuals who want to target use of AI in our company. All the major providers are trying to integrate it, like CMIC or Uninet and the other providers, but we heavily use it in hiring our staff. We use AI to pre-screen all our candidates. We use AI to review contracts. We use AI to create summaries of sales reports based on the risk assessment of each project. Where we'll feed whether you feed spec manuals into it or you feed contracts or we utilize it to basically evaluate the large amounts of data and then create summary documents for our staff. That's predominantly what we're using AI for right now, and it is just more of a time saver to either create documents or review massive amount of data and create summaries for us to be able to create cheat sheets for our projects.
Yeah, it is always evolving and changing a lot. So is there any way that your company is kind of looking forward to or hoping to be able to use AI like in the future than like a different way you're using now?
Yeah, no, that's what that task force is designed for. So if anybody in the company wants to create a bot or wants to create a new agent or leverage a new tool, the company would then seed fund that, and then they would run those pilots, and then they have the obligation then to come back and tell us how their pilot went and whether there's a large scale utilization of it. Right now, everyone's really focusing on how it saves them time. So you see it a lot in note taking. You see it a lot in OAC meetings. You see it a lot in that type of information. I think our biggest focus is we're willing to try anything in AI as long as we can control the data set and it doesn't get out into a public cloud type situation. Not because we're not willing to share what we're doing, but more along the lines that the data is confidential to our clients, right? So we do a lot of technology-based projects where that data and that data set can't be public domain. It has to remain in a controlled environment that based on our confidentiality agreements, items like that.
So like, does that task force also kind of like see whether they want to invest in a new technology, maybe not just AI, but or they just focus on AI technology?
No, it's right now it's a huge focus on AI, but it would apply to pretty much any other technology-driven item. The only thing we kind of hold close to CMIC, and there's always a new software out there or new people that come in and say, hey, Foundation or CMIC or Procore and there's so many other project management softwares in the market, and they're really, really good. I'll limit what our teams can do around those tools, mainly because I don't want to mix the data sets, right? Right now, we've been on CMIC for I want to say 10 years. And so we've got 10 years of data, consistent data in our data sets. And if you were to allow a team to go outside of that, then you're going to lose that data set, or you're creating a new database. So you got to go out and either integrate or turn it into metadata in a big file. And where there's a lot of stuff that our teams are looking at, but I can't tell you I understand even what metadata is, but I've heard that terminology a couple different times.
So we just want to be mindful of your time. So we'll just go ahead and ask one last question. So like based on your experience as the co-founder of GCon, what would be some advice that you would give to students who not only want to enter the construction industry, but maybe want to take leadership roles within it?
Well, repeat the question. What advice would I give to someone around what?
So just based on your experience as the co-founder of GCon, what would be some advice that you would give students who are entering the construction industry, but also want to maybe perhaps take like leadership roles within the industry as well?
I would have a lot of opinions. I think you've heard some of it in my ethics class training and stuff, items like that. Is I tell all students, and I'll give you broad strokes here, is that the students coming out of school need to focus on learning in their early 20s and early 30s and focus less on earning. And I see so many students in a market like we're in today where, there's so much construction work, so much construction activity out there that, you can easily job hop every 2 years once you get a little bit of experience because somebody will want you on a new job. And it really sets a lot of those candidates back from being leaders in those organizations because at the end of the day, you should focus solely on students coming out of school, in my opinion, should focus solely in their 20s and early 30s on the foundation of knowledge, right? Once you gain that foundation of knowledge, the money's going to come and you're going to have ample opportunity to earn in your 30s and 40s because you have an incredible base of knowledge. If you chase projects around and money around in your early 20s, your depth of knowledge is going to be greatly limited, right? To big projects, or I did submittals on the airport or TSMC for 3.5 years, right? So it's things like that where those big mega jobs that pay a lot of money narrow your knowledge base versus the jobs. If you just focused on even the same company, taking smaller jobs that cycled more repetition, that would be my suggestion to young folks. And on the leadership side, that's a journey that everyone's going to face in their career. And I always tell people, you don't just walk in and say, hey, I'm a leader. Leaders are simply individuals who inspire others to follow them, right? And so, you could be a leader, you probably are in your activities if you're in clubs or anything like that. If you have a vision and you inspire people to help you with that vision, you're a leader, right? And if you put it into the perspective of leading a company, GCon's seen rapid growth and some incredible opportunities in our 23 years together. And a lot of it is because as a leader, I just created a vision that got a lot of people to jump on board with and help me achieve. And so that's why the success of the company is not me, it's the organization as a whole, because there's a whole lot of people who believe in the vision and were tireless to help me achieve it. And so it's a win together when you look at stuff like that.
Well, thank you for walking us through that. I think it was really interesting to hear about those technologies that are new to me. Again, thank you for taking the time of your day to talk with us. I think we really appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. You guys can reach out anytime. I'm happy to chat.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.